Hello and welcome to Hope Stories with Lennox Barnett Ministries. I'm Ashley McNary and I'm excited to be sharing with you what Lennox and his team are doing all around the world. Lennox's ministry journey began when his life intersected with missionaries from Rockford, Illinois and Kingston, Jamaica, and now he is following God's call in his life to share his story of hope. Lennox, God brought you from blind to sight, from an orphan to being placed in a family, from hopelessness to being hope-filled. And now you travel the world telling other people about your story and your reason for hope. So let's take a quick look at where Lennox has come from.
At 6 months pregnant, Lennox's mother was admitted to the University Hospital in Kingston, Jamaica, where she worked. She had hypertension during her pregnancy and was admitted for a high-risk pregnancy. She was placed in a bed next to a patient with German measles. As a result, Lennox was born blind, diagnosed with congenital glaucoma, a degenerative disease. Through the earnest prayers of his grandma Daisy, God restored his sight at the age of 8 years old. Lennox grew up in the ghettos of Kingston, Jamaica, in a poor community called Kintyre. After receiving his sight, doctors recommended that he still attend the Salvation Army School for the Blind to learn Braille in the event that he may lose his sight once again. It was at the School for the Blind where he discovered his passion for music and learned to play the piano. At the age of 14 years old, his mom passed away, leaving him as an orphan. Shortly after his mom's death, a missionary team from the Salvation Army came to serve, met him, and loved him so much that they wanted to bring him back home. God miraculously opened those doors, and Lennox came to America.
So Lennox, I'm sure you get asked all of the time, how does a young boy in Jamaica end up in Rockford, Illinois, doing what you're doing now?
Well, Ashley, it's nothing short of a miracle. You know, I was born with a disease in my eyes that was supposed to leave me blind, but God miraculously healed my eyes. And then he gave me a set of musical gifts, which without no formal training allowed me to play and sing and create music that would cause people's hearts to respond to him. Not only did he do that, but he brought me to a place in Jamaica where I was near people who were missionaries from the United States who came down and met me, fell in love with me, brought me back to the United States. And even after coming here to this day, sitting here right now is nothing short of a miracle in itself.
Well, last week we talked about how your ministry really started serving the local church, and then it kind of evolved and God called you to serve more nationally and serve students and tell your story of hope on a national level. And then just recently kind of expanded to international and globally and serving kids and the homeless population and under-resourced all around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. We started out with this mission to share hope through story and song from an evangelistic point of view in worship. But as we did that, God gave us some opportunities to go internationally. And as I was overseas, actually in Belize of all places, which we love so dearly, we got this opportunity to share. But as I was sharing, I felt this tug on my heart. God was saying, hey man, you came from this. Your story is uniquely wired through this kind of an experience. And what would it look like if you went back and shared your same hope, the hope that I've kind of, put in you with the people here in countries like this all over the world, that they would know that there is hope for them, that I'm writing a story. And so that's how that began.
And you grew up in an orphanage yourself, so you, I know, have said you can personally relate to the kids in these situations as well.
I absolutely can. You know, growing up in Jamaica and being an orphan and spending time in an orphanage, I wanted to know, I wondered if God knew me. I wondered if God knew my name, if he loved me. And I know this to be true. Most orphans are asking the very same question. Am I loved? Do I belong? Am I known? And I want them to know the same hope that I've come to cling to.
I know you have a Bible verse that you kind of lean into that really does share kind of your heart for this area. Can you share that with us?
Yes, Psalms 40, verse 1-3. It says this: I waited patiently on the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the miry muck, setting my feet upon a rock, giving me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise. Now many will see and hear and put their trust in him. You see, from the day I was created, God had a story that he was writing and is still writing. And he heard my cry. He saw where I was. Just like every other orphan out there, he knows their needs and he knows their name, and he has a story that he is writing, and he knows their name.
I love that. Well, recently, Lennox Barnett Ministries was able to go to Belize, and so we want to show you a short recap video of their experience there.
But in the midst of all of this, God was saying, hold on, Lennox. Just hold on a little longer. Listen to Pastor at the children's home. Listen to your house mother. Try your best to work hard in school, even if you don't like school. Because I, the Lord, your God, I am working it out. And someday, you will look back on the days that you thought were wasted and hard days, and you'll go, thank you, God, for them, because now I am somebody because of those days. Right now, you need to know that God notices you. He sees you. You and I, we are not wasted. You are loved and cared for. See, God notices you so much that he's also working out a way for you for someday when your future becomes a reality. He's working out a plan for you so that someday you will be what we call a highly effective young man or young woman of society. So this past February was our 5th trip back to Belize. Belize holds a very special place in our hearts because I feel that's where God actually called me to this place of full-time mission. We partner with a ministry out of Charlotte, North Carolina, called Habit Missions, and they take care of youth and homeless in Belize. And Belize is known for a lot of gang activities, and they kind of, the gangs there kind of reach out and induct kids and young people at very young ages. And so what Habit Missions does is they create youth ministry that would draw kids into a safe place in churches that would keep them outside of or keep them away from gang activities and stuff like that. So we partner with them. We do an annual retreat and build into the volunteers there. But while we were there, we were able to meet up with not only the volunteers, but also other local youth that are there and put on a youth rally and invite them to join in with the local church.
Awesome. And talk about your ministry with the children's homes there.
So we had an opportunity to meet and partner with a children's home called King's Children's Home. And this children's home was established by a lady who was abused as a child growing up. This is home to about 50 kids right now. She had this desire to find or create a safe place for kids to be because she was not only abused, but she became an orphan as well. And so she started this children's home, and she says to date, over 800 kids in Belize call her mom.
I think it started when I was a kid. I was badly abused by my parents, and I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anywhere to run. I turned to the Lord, and I prayed. I prayed for God to kill my father, who was at that time being the one molesting me. And I tried to kill myself. And I've done a whole heap of stuff. to get out of the situation. And I didn't have anywhere to run, nowhere to go, no one to call, no one to help me. So, and so because of my going through that, I now can help kids that come into the home that have gone through the same thing. Since 1985, I started out in a 2-bedroom house, a 3-bedroom house, a 4-bedroom house, and then I moved to the house we just left in Belmopan in 2013. That had about 9 bedrooms, and we were packed in there, but the love of God was flowing. We were one big family, very happy and everything else. But then, you know, I needed space for my kids. I needed space for them to run and be kids. I needed place for them to learn to do things. And so in 2008, a guy from Canada came and asked me what I desire, and I told him I would like to get some land and really build a home that I have built in my mind so many years ago. And him and 2 other persons came together and put up the money, and we were able to buy this land that we are on. Finances is one of our biggest challenge here. We're trying our best to be as self-sufficient as we can. So we're raising some chickens, and we get some eggs. We have a few cows, and we're doing a garden. We have solar on our roof to help bring down the electrical costs of running this place. Our electricity was running over $3,000 Belize dollars a month. Our water was close to $3,000. Our monthly expense is close to $28,000 Belize dollars. So it's a lot. And you know, when people are coming and they ask us what we would need, we will say, if you can find boys and girls clothing and bring them, you know, all sizes, and also personal stuff, personal items like deodorant and shampoos and Colgates and stuff like that. I just went to the store and bought personal stuff for the kids. It was over $1,000, because they all needed some. So it's a lot to take care of kids and give them and let them be comfortable and you meet the needs that they have. It does take a little bit to run this place.
Wow, I love that story. One of the cool things we get to do when we visit these orphanages is to work with the house parents, the house mothers, the people who are on the front lines taking care of these kids. And we get to remind them that they have these treasures in these kids, that God has given them an opportunity to invest love and attention and care in these kids, because orphans are generally hard kids to care for because they've been abused or rejected. And some of these house mothers, well, all of them in third world countries, they are below the poverty line and they get paid little to nothing. So we remind them that, you know what, you never know. In the care that you provide, you could be taking care of the next president, the next janitor, the next doctor, the next nurse, whatever it may be, whatever dreams these kids have. God has got a plan and a story, and those kids matter. And it's been a beautiful thing to just watch them come alive.
I love that. Talk specifically about the other things that you do when working with children's homes.
Not only do we provide care and encouragement to the house mothers, but with the kids, we share the story, my story of hope. We share in worship with them, and we also get to give them these action Bibles that we get to partner with, or we get to distribute through our partnership with Bibles for Kids here out of Rockford. And the other really cool thing we got to do on this particular trip was we brought about $250 worth of personal hygiene items that we were able to distribute to each of the kids. Now, I grew up in a similar institution, or spent time in an institution just like this, and it was communal showers and you know bath supplies and hygiene stuff. it was something special though when you had your own cocoa butter lotion and shampoo and toothpaste. And so it was such a gift for them. When I shared my story at this particular orphanage, the kids were at first kind of like, well, I mean, who are you to tell us something that we already heard? But after I said, hey, guess what though? I was one of you. I walked exactly where you are walking. It opened up their hearts and their minds to a whole new way of appreciating and believing what I had to say. Now I became credible.
Love that. Well, Lennox Barnett Ministries financially supports a ministry called Southside Ministry. Talk a little bit about that.
Southside Ministry is a ministry that is on the south side of Belize, in one of the poorest areas, that's kind of ridiculed by gang activities and violence because of how poor that section of Belize City is. And this really cool ministry, this small church, this Assemblies of God church, opens up their doors every single day to provide a safe place for kids to come, not just for a hot meal during the lunch hour on the school days, but an after-school program where these kids can not only get help with their homework, but they can be mentored and they can have some fun, some free treats and popcorn, and just stay off the streets.
Love that. Lennox and his team were able to capture Marco's story, who founded Southside Ministry. So take a look at his story.
What we do here is that in the mornings and the afternoons, usually we have two sets of kids, two different schools. First, we have one school that comes from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and they usually eat and then they leave, and the other set comes all the way until 12 o'clock, which is a very unique school. In my terms, I call it a unique school because they're a Muslim school, and this is a Christian church. And we've been reaching out to the Muslim school where the kids are being taught what they know, and we are teaching them Christianity. We are serving them Christianity, which is totally two different religions, something very, very different. So I love that part when it comes to working with the Muslim school. And recently we've been trying to partner with the Muslim school as well. So we've sat with the principal and we've talked a little bit with her, and they like what we're doing, and they actually asked us for our help.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they know that we are Christians. Yes. So this feeding program is not just it. We don't see it just as a feeding program, but for us it's more discipling. It's more reaching out to the kids, giving them the Word of God. Yes.
What's your return on the investment you make in the lives of these kids? Like what do you see happening in the lives of the kids because this place exists?
Well, we get a lot of differences, behavioral changes. We have a lot of people, like sometimes we reach families through these kids. Sometimes these kids are coming to the program, and eventually we see their parents start attending the churches. And that is one of the biggest reasons why this ministry is what it is. Because we try not to just reach out to the kids, but reach out to the entire community, reach out to the families of these kids as well.
That's awesome. That's incredible, man. Thanks for doing such a great work. It sounds like you got some kids that are kind of coming up, and
yes.
We're grateful to be here. We're grateful to bring some Bibles to share with these kids, and we're grateful to just kind of piggyback on what you are doing, the impact and the difference you're making in this community, just by sharing the love of Christ through a meal and just some time where a kid can come and feel safe in this place. Thank you for all you do, Marco. God bless your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. While we were there, we were getting ready to pack up and leave because the kids had come in and out. And I need to say that lunch, we were there over the lunch hour the day after Valentine's Day, and they serve about 3 different schools. One of the schools was a Jewish school that they serve every single day, and they teach them about the love of Jesus Christ, which is so cool. But as we were packing up, the guy said to me, Marco says to me, hey, there's only a few more stragglers that are probably going to come in the door, so you guys are free to go. And I remember just like saying to Trevor, no, we're going to stay. We don't want to miss one kid who would come to experience the story and get a Bible today. So we stayed. And as we were staying, up the steps come 3 other little kids. And as they approached the door, I could see the one in the back looking at me with just this wide-eye look. And he came over to me and says, Mister, I remember you from 2 years ago. You came and you spoke and you said that your mother died and you talked about hope. And I said, yeah, absolutely. He says, well, my mom died a year ago, and I'm learning about this hope because you said you're going to be okay. You said you were okay because you learned about hope, and I'm holding on to that now. Thank you so much for coming back. And, Ashley, that's why we go back. It's building that relationship, sharing that story. And then, many people go on mission trips and they go and do a one-time thing. They go to an orphanage and they visit and they never return. But what would happen if we always went back? So for us, as often as we can, we want to go back. We want to continue to build on that relationship for stories just like that little boy's.
Gosh, that's such a powerful story. So tell us about what's next. What's next for Lennox Barnett Ministries?
Well, we are on our way to Jamaica. For the first time in over 4 years, I get to go back and minister at an orphanage that takes care of kids with special needs. So I'm really excited about that. This orphanage is actually right around the area where I grew up. And so I'm really excited to do that. And then in May, late May, we're hoping to head to Honduras and Guatemala to spend some time there to explore ministry opportunities and visit some orphanages and start building some relationships there as well.
That's awesome. And the cool thing is that you can be a part of kind of funding and making these trips happen. So we need your help. Would you pray about partnering with Lennox Barnett Ministries to be a monthly donor or even just a one-time gift to help fully fund and expand what they are doing all over the world? You can donate online at lennoxbarnettministries.com, or you can mail a check to Lennox Barnett Ministries at 111 Lamplighter Loop, Poplar Grove, Illinois 61065.
I surrender. I'm stepping out from the shadow of fear and doubt. So exhausted from this fight, trying to mend the pain inside. So take my hands, reveal your plan, whatever the cost. So do what you need to do in me. Sufficient your grace, so true your mercy, 'cause I am in do what you need, do what you need, my heart is yours. Wounded and weary, help me, I pray. Search me, oh Savior, fill my heart today. Break down the walls of strife I have built. Mold me and make me after your will. take my hands, reveal your plans, whatever the cost. Do what you need to do in me. Sufficient your grace, so true your mercy, 'cause I am in need of all you are. So do what you need, do what you need. My heart is yours, 'cause you are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me master today. Do what you do, only like you can. Take what is broken, make brand new. So do what you need to do in me. Sufficient your grace, so true your mercy, 'cause I am in need of all you are. So do what you need, do what you need. My heart is yours. My heart is yours.
Lennox, what an incredible ministry.
We're so honored to be the hands and feet of Jesus wherever he would send us. Guatemala, Jamaica, Nairobi, Kenya, Haiti, anywhere he would open the doors, we will go.
Awesome. Well, hey, speaking of Jamaica, you guys are not going to want to miss out on the next episode of Hope Stories airing on June 2nd. Lennox and his team will be in Jamaica showing us what LBM looks like on the ground. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Remember to follow LBM on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to what Lennox and his team is doing and to hear the transforming stories that are happening. Also, on the Lennox Barnett Ministries website, you can order a copy of Lennox's book, Overwhelmed, as well as purchase any of the CDs of Lennox's original music. Thanks so much for tuning in. God bless.